And then the second one, I'm just going to briefly go through, is the how to be a great treasurer one, because I know there might be some people in this call that are responsible for being treasurers. So this one, there's a list here, bullet point list there of the things that treasurers are responsible for. The first, again, kind of does what it says on the tin, but making sure that you're responsible for your society's money and the funds that you have. So that doesn't include just writing a budget. It includes making sure that you're keeping the finances up to date, and that, for example, you don't spend 60% of your budget in the first week of activity. You will also be responsible for collecting and banking in any funds. So if you have a fundraiser where you're taking cash, it's your responsibility as a treasurer to make sure that you come back to the guild and that's deposited in the correct way. Make sure there's no overspend. So there is no overdraft. There is, if you have been given £1,000 from the guild, that is the only money that you'll be able to access from the guild. And so as a treasurer, you'll need to make sure, in order to deliver on your activities, that you're not overspending and that you are spending to budget. You'll have to make sure you have accurate records of your spending. So every month we'll be asking treasurers to submit their spend to date, and that's just so that we can make sure we're keeping an eye on spending and can also support you. It's not about saying, you spent all your money, now what are you going to do? It's, our focus is much more on how can we support you. So if you're underspending or overspending, how can we make sure that you're focused on your key and core activity, and potentially look at other routes to gain additional funding. Ensure that your bills, invoices and any affiliations are paid. So for example, basketball have to pay an affiliation to basketball, the national body, and it was their responsibility as treasurer to make sure that that gets paid. You'll also confirm transport bookings. You may want to delegate that responsibility to another member of your committee, but ultimately treasurers will be responsible for booking those in and making sure that the finances are correct in relation to paying for that. You'll also liaise with staff to lead on any budget requests, so you'll be working with me to do that. Attend any relevant societies training, which hopefully people are already doing. And then every year societies will be expected to have an annual general meeting, much like the guild. It will be an opportunity for you to report to your membership on what you've been doing, and also provide them with information on the budget, and the treasurer will need to make sure that that's prepared for the AGM. But as and when we get around to AGM season, obviously I'll be here to help you with any of that. So they're kind of their sorry, I'm just getting the PowerPoint back up. They're the kind of key responsibilities that we've pulled out for society leads and treasurers, and lots of you will have other people within your committee, as I said earlier, that will be responsible for different activity. And what I would say for those people is you might want to create your own role descriptions as a committee so that you can outline what you expect of each other. So for example, we don't have a role description for a social secretary, but it might be that if that is someone that you have on your society, you spend a little bit of time thinking, okay, what are the roles and responsibilities of this person? For example, I know for Cheer, you've just created the fundraising officer. So spending some time really thinking about what that actually means and making sure that you're setting expectations for each other is really important as leaders as well, because it means that you have something to fall back on. If someone was meant to do something and it's within their role description and they haven't done it, it kind of gives you the opportunity to say, well, this was outlined in kind of your role, and we can help you do that if that's something that you want to do for your society committees. So do let us know, and we can have a chat about it. It might be that lots of you come back and say, we really want a social secretary role description, in which case we can look at developing kind of a broad one that applies to you all and you can all adopt and use. But we'll kind of play that by ear depending on what you need and what you want as societies. Okay,